My name's Aaron. Welcome back to my channel. How are you? I'm fantastic and I'm doing really well. And today I'm reviewing from the house of Boadicea the Victorious, Bodacious, £270 for 100ml. A warm and inviting scent full of Eastern promise. Cherry dominates the gourmand tour de force, but its sweetness is tempered with a inclusion of clove, pepper, host of light woods. Bodacious is a mature and seductive delight. I didn't know this was a MILF or GILF fragrance, but whatever. Okay, it's saying the notes are tonka bean, cherry, and jasmine sambac. Do we have our bottles of Bodacious by Boadicea the Victorious? God, that was a mouthful. Are we engaged with the higher self? Let's get testing. So let's have a look at the atomizer. Okay, so what am I expecting? So as I was reading that, I was kind of thinking some of the constituent raw materials in jasmine and how you'd make a jasmine accord is quite similar to cherry. They share a lot of the constituents: benzyl acetate, benzaldehyde, DMBCA, vanillin, coumarin. If you kind of want to go there in an accord, they would be similar. So that's quite an easy thing to do. If by adding on hedione, you can go full throttle jasmine, and by adding more DMBCA, acetates, aldehydes, all that sort of stuff, you would get to sort of cherry heliotropin as well, vanillin and all that stuff. So let's apply the fragrance. That's just what was my thought process in it. But mature, I don't know about that. I don't like that word. Oh, I'd like it for that price. I'd like it something a bit better as an atomizer. There's something about this I don't like, but the majority of it I do. Light, airy, substantial, being created beautifully. Hedione bases, I thought. Ice was super. You actually would use these aroma chemicals to give you the finish of floral, light floral, jasmine, and also your sort of wood, amber, vanillin, coumarin, heliotropin, ethyl maltol whipping through the base. That note is kind of dying down. It's kind of dying down. I've been left with kind of the rest of the formula, to be honest. The note is there in the beginning, but it's not there, so it kind of dies off. It smells very herbaceous, which is fine in a sort of a cherry-based fragrance, but it's kind of like tannin or wood or tea. It's gone now. It was very unappealing to begin with. Like I thought, oh, I don't know about this. It's like when the mesco molecules are too high, you kind of get that finish on it. Yeah, there's some aroma chemicals in that category, sort of like plum, red wine, Domesco, and that, which is at quite high concentrations, are unappealing. They give that sort of finish to it. Dinescone, and Dinescone 10 give that at high concentrations as well. The initial blast of it isn't too good, I gotta say, but drying down it's much better. So I'm very pleased that's kind of gone. Wood notes, the floral notes are really lovely as well. So it's got lots of lift and volume, which is from the white floral notes. The sweetness is addictive. So if you love very sweet ethyl maltol, vanilla, heliotropin, all that sort of stuff, you're going to love this. Now we're getting to where I thought it was, which is the acetates, the fruit acetates. It's got a raspberry note, which is beautiful raspberry ketone, and it's got this sort of plum, and it's also got one of my favorite raw materials, which is a rhubarb acetate, which is one of my most favorite raw materials to work with. Very delightful, very, very easy to work with. Some raw materials are very difficult to work with. Some raw materials are very, very easy to work with and just blend like a dream, and you can be forgiven when you're developing it of going sort of higher amounts in the concentration, increasing the percentage of it, and it's kind of quite forgiving. Some raw materials, some aldehydes and things are really unforgiving. You got to really work with them. They're quite difficult to work with because they're unforgiving and they stick out. And they don't blend, and they kind of, over the period of maceration, they don't blend and they just kind of stick out. On to my final thoughts. Very appealing, but it's another cherry fragrance. It smells a little bit cut and paste. I disagree with the mature thing, actually. I don't think it smells of, I don't know if that was mature as in the maceration or if it was mature as in the age of the person. I don't agree with that. I think this is a really lovely, delightful cherry fragrance. I think it's very delightful. I would have loved a little bit of filth to this. Trace amounts. I would have loved some mood in this. Gaiac wood to smoke it out. I'd have loved some terpenous patchouli to smoke it out. I would love just a little bit of smoke because it feels very light and airy. I kind of would love it balanced at the base with sort of some smoke. Because to tell you what it smells like, it smells very nice. But the thing I'm getting in mind is like a hysterical middle class Karen whose her dosage of antidepressants are too high and she's running around screaming. It's very lovely and very light and airy, but there's nothing to sort of balance that and give it just a little bit of sort of animal notes or smoke. And animal notes are so important because they can make things smell more human and make things smell more realistic. And this smells very slightly synthetic, which is fine. But I kind of feel going on like jasmine and all the rest of it, I'd just a little bit of maybe some indoles in it would have been really nice as well. There's something that's missing. It's kind of like some animal notes I think would have just been animal notes or smoke notes, I think are really needed in this and would have been very, very beautiful. But I think it's really lovely. The price, I think the price is okay for what it is. I mean, it's a luxurious brand. I love the use of umbrellalides where you're getting that clean, cold, berry umbrellide finish from it. I always think of as umbrellide as that strange as cold as some other musk, like muscone, or this sort of musk, and cosmone as well as like warm, and umbrellide I think of as cold. Very nice. If it just had trace amounts of an animal nature to give it like a human quality to sort of ground it and give it sort of like an animal nature to it, it would have been really, really great. And the name Bodacious, I kind of, that's what I would have done with it, just sort of trace amounts. And give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's lovely, but I would have loved that aspect to it and then it would have been perfect. So hope you loved that review. Thumbs up and subscribe for fascinating, interesting content, lots of moving hands, and lots of fragrance views. Hope you're staying safe and well. See you soon.